13. This is not to minimize what happened on October 7th. It is relevant, at least according to this host on Israel's channel 13. It's relevant enough for Israeli television to point out that there were initial reports that gained momentum and expanded in Western media in the wake of October 7th that were either fabricated or exaggerated or mistakenly promoted, whatever it was. This is all in Hebrew. I'll read the translations. The reason why they're airing this is because it's important to have some accuracy. And I will say this, like we mentioned that, the Israeli government only refers to the Hamas regime. And walking to work today, I saw a sign that said Hamas equals rape. There is no doubt that the nature of the atrocities on October 7th have done a lot of work for the Israeli government's justifying of them killing thousands of children, and innocent men and women for that matter, and for leveling Gaza. And certainly it's done a lot of work for people who are supportive of Israel's, right to defend itself in this manner. And so it's important to parse out what was real and what wasn't. Here it is. This is the first. This is the Israeli host of this show. Good evening to you. Go ahead. We'll be talking about the new hostage deal outline. Will it be able to end the negotiations deadlock? But before that, watch the following footage of the Kafir Brigade commander from Channel 14. We arrive in Kibbutz Be'er, and there I encounter two main images of the battle, apropos of the enemy's brutality. One is a nursery school with innocent children. They were butchered, killed. You see the children inside the house? 8 babies died. And another image that caught my attention when I saw Jenya, may she rest in peace, an elderly woman from Kibbutz Be'er, and I see the number engraved on her arm. And you say she went through the Holocaust in Auschwitz and in the end died in Kibbutz Be'er? That's not something but that you can even understand it. Well, no 8 babies were killed in Be'er. This is the host again, according to the kibbutz spokesperson, and there's no woman named Jenya in Be'er. Watch some more footage from not long ago. The soldiers speaking. There were also children here, babies, who were hanged on a laundry line, really, in one line. It was very hard to see. When I saw it, it shocked me. You don't really understand what you're seeing in front of your eyes. Is it a picture or is it really reality? It's very, very hard to understand. Buskila is talking about a supposed event in Kfar Aza, but in Kfar Aza they made it clear long ago that this event simply didn't happen. By the way, he said the things he was told that it didn't happen. In a tour of foreign news journalists who came there, and pay attention to what the police spokesman said to the foreign media not long ago. Pay attention. A pregnant woman cut open.
Oh. Guys, the things that happen here are so sick. This is not a Netflix show, and it's not a cable news show. None of that. No, this is real life.
That also didn't happen. So many terrible, cruel things happened. Some of the most cruel things that can be done to a human being on 7th of October. Mickey Rosenthal, why were these things that didn't happen said? All right, and they go into debating about why that happened. Some of it may be people hear a rumor and they say it like they saw it. Some of these people may be lying. Some of them may have been mistaken as to what happened. But we know how this was all utilized. It was a way of, foaming the runway, desensitizing people so that there was some justification for the images and for the awareness of what is being done to 2.2 million people, 2.3 million people in Gaza.
I mean, the question is too, like, why do you have to make something up when 1,200 Israelis die on a day? Why would you have to make these kinds of outrageous claims up? And it's because the level of death that is being inflicted, the number of Palestinians being killed right now by the tens of thousands, you need to continuously ramp up what the atrocities look like, especially to an audience in the West that wants the West to say, well, what if that happened to us, the collective us, right? Like what people in the US and Germany or the UK that are supporting Israel, what they identify as us, and like, what would that be like for you to see babies hanging on clotheslines? So in order to justify like the completely disproportionate response in death toll numbers in the actual figures, you have to make the atrocities so much more vivid than the numbers would suggest. But like when you bomb somebody, they may burn to death. Children's heads explode. There's I
mean, not to mention reports of rape that made people resign, Palestinians that made members of our civil service resign already in the previous few months.
So how do you make the deaths of Israelis matter more than the deaths of Palestinians, just from a propaganda perspective? You make the deaths more gruesome to the public.
And we should also say that, part of it, like the value to the Israeli government of these stories is one thing to the Western media and one thing to also their domestic consumption.
Yep.
Like, this is, if you're Bibi Netanyahu, you don't want to leave office, make sure that within Israeli society, and there's a lot of other pressures, no doubt, within Israeli society, not to both dehumanize Palestinians and to, essentially prevent these people from feeling any sympathy and the justification going on. I mean, so how this happens is almost like largely irrelevant, but the point is that the people should be aware. There are stories that went around, the justifications are being used to justify this completely disproportionate response. Without even contextualizing this. Put aside, international law says occupied people can fight the occupation in any way necessary, and that occupiers have no right to self-defense in international law. Put that aside. You just look at the disproportionate nature of this, and you can see that it's a slaughter. And now we have the International Court of Justice. And no one, I didn't hear anybody predict 15-2 would be the closest vote.
Yeah.
Like, you can go and look at like Norman Finkelstein and see what he was predicting wasn't even close to this.
Well, I mean, our
nobody.
guests thought that they would win. I'm sorry, what was?
But that's his job,
right? But that's his. What was the name of the international human rights lawyer we had on?
Francis Boyle.
Francis Boyle. I mean, but he didn't even predict that either.
No, I mean it was this is shatters a lot of the arguments about how ridiculous it is to use the word genocide and how none of this is the case. And, this is nothing like Dresden. I mean, all of that, none of it all falls apart.